So, what's up, people, and welcome to the Chapter 89 discussion of Kaiju number 8, or Kaiju 8号. So, Chapter 89 came out a while ago, and as always, I will leave a link to this chapter that's currently being shown on the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, for free to the North American audience. So, if you're interested, we'll go take a look at it before they pull this chapter back. Okay, so for Chapter 89, we start going into the flashback for Commander Hoshina. And once you start reading this, you start realizing that there is a pattern that's going on with all of these stories, whether it's Kikoru Shinomiya or Commander Narumi or Commander Hoshina, in that these flashbacks give some sort of empty feeling that you get in each one of these characters' souls. For Kikoru, it was her inability to be able to live up to her parents. As far as Narumi was concerned, he was not able to ever overcome his commander. And for Commander Hoshina, it is with regards to his brother, who in the Hoshina clan is considered the next great generation for their household. Soichiro, his brother, is considered a master swordsman, and it seems like in the Hoshina house, the skill of martial arts is very important. And from the very beginning, we find out that Commander Hoshina, when he was a child, felt that he was inferior to his brother. And most likely, that feeling still remains. And so now we come back to the present, and if we recall, in Chapter 88, we saw that Commander Hoshina and Monster Number 10 together were getting beaten down by Monster Number 12. And we found out in the end of that chapter that it was because Monster Number 10 was a prototype for an improved version, which was, of course, Monster Number 12. So everything that Monster Number 10 could do, 12 could do better. And because of that, even with the combination of Hoshina's capabilities, which most likely Monster Number 9 knew, and Monster Number 12's powers, they were being completely overwhelmed. And now we come to Chapter 89. And so now there seems to be this story of incompetence and the inability to overcome their greater superior, which turns out to be a common bond between these two. And you start noticing that even Commander Hoshina is starting to see that. As he says during his confrontation with Monster Number 12, which he mentions is the greater package, both of them feel inferior in one way or another. And so this is a soul-searching situation because just like with the previous characters, they're facing an almost unwinnable situation. And so being the logical, collected soldier that Commander Hoshina is, he comes up with the most logical conclusion, which is, let's go beat the crap out of this guy. Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty good. And in fact, Monster Number 10 agrees. Which of course means that they have to overcome their barriers, which is of course exactly what happened with Kikoru Shinomiya and Commander Narumi. So now we're seeing Commander Hoshina's version of that. And what's interesting is to do so, he has asked headquarters to send some special equipment his way, which we aren't sure what it is until he receives it, and it turns out to be a single blade. Now, if you recall, in the previous battles, Hoshina has always fought with dual blades. He was always a master dual bladesman. But what we find out in this chapter is the single blade martial art technique is the one that is the foundation for the Hoshina clan. And so by donning this weapon, he is now representing the martial arts of his family. Now, why he didn't use it in the past is exactly because of the inferiority complex he has to his brother. His brother was always better with the single blade, and so instead of trying to overcome it and get better, he decided to run away and become a dual bladesman. So now he's putting on his single blade. And the other interesting thing that we find out in this chapter is that no matter how much Hoshina and Monster Number 10 tried, they could never get above 83% synergy. And so they felt that that was a limiting factor, and they were not sure if that was a physical barrier that they could never overcome or there was something between them that was holding them back. But right now was not the time to ponder about a lot of these things. And now with the single blade, Commander Hoshina goes back into battle. And what's interesting is we see with this blade, he shows a significant increase in his capability, and he is able to injure monster number 12, which of course is the end of the chapter. Now, from the first glance, this sounds relatively cliche, right? He felt that he was inferior. He has always run away from his family's martial arts. But now that he has come to an adversary that he cannot win typically, and is a character that is also an obstacle for monster number 10, they go in together, and with a single blade of their family's martial art, he is able to take him down. Yes, it does sound relatively cliche. However, it doesn't always have to be that way. And I did like the image that they showed with regards to how Commander Hoshina was using this single blade art, because you could see that he was going back to tradition. In fact, what this indicates is that although he went to the dual blade system, which indicated that he ran away, it looked like he never really stopped practicing that single blade. In fact, his entire lifelong desire was to be able to somehow catch up to his brother and potentially even overtake him. In which case, although he used this dual blade in the field, he was most likely practicing really hard with the single blade. And probably during this training arc, he really focused on that particular weapon, which he mentions is an advantage in this situation because monster number 9 never saw that single blade martial art. And maybe that is enough to take down monster number 12, but I would like to think that it is because Commander Hoshina did practice really hard to do the single blade technique, that even if his psychology said that he was inferior, he was in fact not. And potentially he may now be at a level that is at least comparable to Soichiro, his brother, and hopefully with the powers of monster number 10, can eventually overcome his barrier. Now the other side is, of course, monster number 10. They are fighting monster number 12, which means that this is his obstacle as well. And so the other thing that I'm wondering is that the author, Matsumoto Naoya, went out and said that they could never overcome that 83%. So there is one way that's easy for them to be able to overcome monster number 12, which is to get over that 83% synergy. And one possibility is that if you always recalled in the past, monster number 10 and Hoshina's persona was always in confrontation. Now the whole point with regards to these JDF soldiers being able to leverage their battlesuit is synergy. So if they were always in confrontation, then maybe it is that exact situation that made it impossible to get them over 83%. But now that they understand that they are basically similar sort of characters, both considering inferior to some overwhelming obstacle, maybe that is enough for them to create synergy. Yes, it may be cliche, but at least it makes sense. And if in addition to that, Hoshina did practice like crazy with regards to the single blade art, then all of this would make sense. Now, none of this we will know until we see chapter 90. And so I am looking forward to seeing how this is explained, and hopefully the next chapter will. And once that comes out, I'll bring out another video. I hope you join me at that time. But this is the chapter 89 discussion for Kaiju 8号. If you read it, what you think about it, any comments will be greatly appreciated. And until the next episode, happy manga reading, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.